On this channel, I talk a lot about what I call the TQ cult, the trans, queer, non-binary community, and for the most part, I think people within said communities are just trying to live their lives. But there's a small and very vocal minority who are clearly unhinged, who are ruining things for everyone else. And that's why there's now a split in the LGBTQIA+ community. Now, if you're new to the channel, I'm a straight guy, but I've been a gay rights advocate most of my adult life because no one gets to pick their sexuality. But under that umbrella, the L's, the G's and the B's, those are sexualities. The I stands for intersex, people we used to call hermaphrodites, a very rare condition, and also it's very rare that those people speak up on these issues. So for the purpose of this video, we'll remove them. What we're left with aren't sexualities, they are identities. And as the propaganda around this cult gets louder and louder, I fear that in the Western world we are sleepwalking into a mental health crisis. So in this video we'll meet a number of people, and by the end let's see if we can come up with whether or not this is a cult, because to me it looks like they're one step away from either drinking the Kool-Aid or going out in a firefight like the Branch Davidians. The first two people we'll meet are both involved in education, and if you're a parent to young children, they both serve as almost perfect adverts for why you should consider homeschooling.
Okay guys, I can't. This is too funny. So I'm at work, and those of you who don't know me, I use they, them pronouns, and I'm a preschool teacher. So instead of using Mr. or Miss, we use mix. So the kids have been really awesome doing that. I work with 3- and 4-year-olds. One of my kiddos came up to me and he goes, "Are you mixed up? Are you mixed up?" I was like, "No, sweetie, I'm not mixed up. I just use mix instead of Mr. or Mrs. And he's like, "Okay, I was worried."
So apparently that individual finds it amusing to confuse and frighten young children. And that phrase, "one of my kiddos," will come back to that. But there seem to be so many non-binary types who go into teaching. And I guess part of that is because, let's be blunt, young children are thick as shit. They'll believe anything they're told, including that non-binary is a real thing. And of course you can identify as what you like, but it doesn't change biology. Of course, there have always been androgynous people. Those who don't fit into the more traditional male or female stereotypes. In fact, we all float a little bit, and cross-dressing is nothing new. But it's very recently that the more militant trans and non-binary types have started screaming, mostly on TikTok. And in a recent poll on X, only 1% of respondents said that non-binary was a real thing. 2% said they were unsure, but a staggering 97% of respondents said it was either attention-seeking or mental illness. And returning to that phrase, "one of my kiddos," there seem to be many trans and non-binary teachers who seem to think they have more rights to the children than the child's parents. There are horror stories about teachers telling children that they can change their pronouns, use different names, etc., and that they don't tell the parents. To me, that's fucking child abuse. And it speaks volumes that a child of either 3 or 4 years of age approached this teacher effectively saying, "Are you okay? You appear to be mental."
In the comments of my last couple of videos about my anchor charts. So here you can see a couple of other anchor charts that I have about my pronouns. It says, "My name is Mixed Cocktail. My pronouns are Z, Zem, Zir, and Zirs. Mixed C is my teacher. Z is multilingual. Students practice and speak."
That was another teacher imposing "zer" pronouns onto young children in an unhealthy way. And I guess they have to start young, because that's how cults work. And also, saying your pronouns are Z, Zim, Zer to any mildly sane adult would get them laughed off the face of the fucking earth. And part of being a teacher is helping children develop basic social skills, which will be impossible when clearly that person doesn't possess them themselves. The main role of an educator is to educate, not to indoctrinate. Not to project their pathology onto innocent young minds. Maybe that's part of it. If they can get the kids to go along with their madness, maybe they won't then feel as isolated. I also suspect They're trying to pass on their own childhood trauma. Yes, children, you have to use my pronouns. Otherwise, your parents will be disappointed and your mother won't love you. Why, Mummy? Why? Anyway, let's move on from the teachers and meet a demigirl. No, me neither.
Some of you guys have been confused about my gender. To keep it simple, I am a demigirl. Now that doesn't mean that I am a girl. That means that I am non-binary with a little bit of feminine identity mixed in. You can use she, her pronouns. You can use feminine compliments like saying I'm pretty and all that stuff. But you cannot call me a woman because I am not. I am non-binary. I just am also a little bit feminine. Okay? You can call me X. You can call me Xena. You can call me they, them, it, it's, she, her. Any of that stuff. There will be no he, hims. And there will be no insisting that I am a man or a woman. There will be no transphobia in my comments. I will tell you to leave. Understood?
No he, him pronouns and no transphobia. Well, a phobia is an irrational fear, and I have no fear of that individual. But sir, if you're going to set your videos so that they can be downloaded, I will call you what I fucking like. And he says he's not a woman, and that's a good thing. That's better than some of the trans community, blokes who look like me but insist that they're having periods. And saying that we can call him pretty. Well, no. Because he is fugly. He is a fuck-ugly bastard. He is a fat, fuck-ugly bastard with a stupid haircut. And I guarantee 5 years ago, he would have been an incel. Some basement-dwelling weirdo posting on message boards about how he wants to destroy women because they won't sleep with him. And it's amazing how many incels are now becoming trans or non-binary. It's like they're Batman becoming the thing they most fear. For Bruce Wayne, it was bats. For incels, it's girls. Then they call themselves lesbians, sign up to female-only dating apps where they get rejected even harder and use it as justification for their hatred. Next up, we'll see something else very common within the TQ cult, having as many victimhood labels as possible.
I am a trans non-binary lesbian. Trans because non-binary fits under the trans umbrella, but also because I've never felt like I completely fit the gender assigned at birth. Non-binary because I've never felt like I fit woman completely or girl completely. I didn't fit it in the socialized roles, in the form of dress, in the form of acting or speaking. I just have never felt like I completely fit it. Lesbian because I have always loved other women or non-men, and that's what lesbian is. A non-man loving a non-man. And I feel gender euphoria when people use they to speak about me. It feels so good. I also live with DID, dissociative identity disorder. I have always talked about myself as we when I talk to safe people, so they fits even better, but also...
First up, no, she doesn't have DID. I used to be a therapist, yes, I can't believe it either, and dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personality disorder, is so rare that most psychologists can't even agree whether or not it exists. But there is something going on TikTok within the non-binary community, whereby they are self-diagnosing themselves with DID. And there are 3 good reasons for this. First of all, narcissistic attention seeking, very common within the TQ cult. Secondly, it's a mental health problem, so victimhood points. And thirdly, and most importantly, if you say you've got DID, you can be as shit as you like to other people and then blame that behaviour on one of your alters. As for being trans because she doesn't feel 100% comfortable in her own body, don't we all feel like that sometimes? Isn't that just part of being human? And she's a lesbian, good for her. I've seen loads of their videos. But notice she's using the new definition. In one of the American dictionaries, lesbians are no longer defined as women, they are non-men. By that definition, that tree is a lesbian. And it's part of the TQ cult's campaign to erase women from the English language and eventually replace them within society. It's interesting that the TQ cult doesn't go after men in the same way that it goes after women. They're not trying to get the language changed around anything male, and you don't hear the term cis men anywhere near as much as cis women. Not that it matters to our new brightly coloured friend. They are non-binary, and anyone non-binary, just being non-binary is their entire fucking personality. So there's one clip left to go, and you'll probably know this person. This is the Woman of the Year, the walking insult and mockery to anything feminine, Dylan Mulvaney. Tell me if this behaviour seems in any way normal.
Today wasn't supposed to be a crying day. Why do I always feel like crying? Why do I always feel like crying? Don't do it, Dylan. Don't you dare. No! I feel a little better.
Yeah, so there's that. Why is Dylan always crying? Well, because Dylan has very good lawyers, I suspect, like many people within her community, isn't fixing the underlying problem. Dresses and makeup aren't curing what's underneath it all. Surgery isn't the answer, therapy probably is. And how creepy was it where Dylan was talking to herself? Don't you do it, Dylan. That's Norman Bates having a chat with his mother. It reminded me so much of the end of Psycho 2, spoilers, where Norman hits his mother over the head with a shovel and then says in her voice, "Put me by the window." Was the behaviour of any of those individuals anywhere near approaching sane? I started this video by asking, is it a cult? Someone proved me wrong. As ever, thanks for watching.